Hello everyone, students. Today we are going to study about neurocystic sarcosis, and it is also called pork tapeworm infection. Okay, students, and it is comes under the neurological disorders. So let's go. We will start our neurocystic sarcosis. Introduction about neurocystic sarcosis, a major cause of adult onset epilepsy in the developing world. Cystic sarcosis is a disease caused by the presence of cystic sarcos cellulose and cystic sarcosis racemose, the larval form of T. soleum. So what is the condition of neurocystic sarcosis? It is a condition of neurological disorder, and basically it is a situation related to the infection in over the brain muscles as well as the brain tissues. So it's all about the neurocystic sarcosis. Now we will move on our next thing. Types of neurocystic sarcosis. So neurocystic sarcosis are divided into two types. First one is the intraparenchymal neurocystic sarcosis. So here give related to intraparenchymal neurocystic sarcosis. Most common form seen at gray-white matter junction and single or multiple, range in the size from a few mm to 1 to 2 centimeter. Commonly seen in children 5 years, but can be occur in the toddlers and infants. So basically in intraparenchymal neurocystic sarcosis, it is a very common kind of neurocystic sarcosis, and it is a happen in area of a gray-white matter junction of the nervous system, and sometimes it is a single and sometimes it is a multiple kind of thing. And basically this kind of problem is happen in more than the 5-year age of the children, and basically this kind of problem is happen in duration of the initial period of the brain infection. Okay, students, so it is the first type for neurocystic sarcosis. Now we will see it next type. Second type of neurocystic sarcosis, extraparenchymal neurocystic sarcosis. So ventricular neurocystic sarcosis can obstruct CSF flow, causing the hydrocephalus. CT may relieve only hydrocephalus and no cystic sarcosis. Subarachnoid neurocystic sarcosis can occur in the Gray fissure basilar cystitum. So extraparenchymal neurocystic sarcosis, it means external part of the parenchymal area of the brain are basically affect and basically altered in duration of the extraparenchymal neurocystic sarcosis. And in this condition, maybe the chances of CSF flow or CSF cerebrovascular spinal fluid flow are interfere just because of the extraparenchymal neurocystic sarcosis, because in this condition sometimes chances subarachnoid space is also affect, and we all are know, students, is subarachnoid space is help for the circulation of CSF fluid. So that's why in this condition CSF fluid causing hydrocephalus sometime, because CSF fluid is not circulate properly and accumulated in the particular area. So we all are know कि if a person have a problem related to CSF accumulation in over the brain or in over the cerebrospinal fluid any area, so that condition that thing is comes under to hydrocephalus. Okay, so it's all about the extraparenchymal neurocystic sarcosis. Now we will see next thing about neurocystic sarcosis. Types of neurocystic sarcosis, it means another type of neurocystic sarcosis. So another type is spinal cystic sarcosis. It means if person is affected by the cystic sarcosis in over the spine, so it is also one type of neurocystic sarcosis. And ocular cystic sarcosis means infection of muscles and tissue in over the ocular system, so it is comes under to ocular cystic sarcosis. And in muscles, it means neuromuscular muscles like spinal muscle and brain muscle sometimes affected by the cystic sarcosis, so it is comes under to muscles neurocystic sarcosis. In subcutaneous tissue cystic sarcosis, if in duration of cystic sarcosis subcutaneous muscles are involved, so that kind of thing is comes under to subcutaneous tissue cystic sarcosis. And other organ cystic sarcosis also sometimes happen and suffer to patient. So in this period, another organ of muscles and tissue affect or have infection by the cystic sarcosis. So it is comes under to other organ cystic sarcosis. Okay. A single patient may have multiple types and location of cystic sarcosis, and a single patient may be the risk, or sometime maybe have a risk one kind of neurocystic sarcosis happen, or sometime maybe the chances more than the cystic sarcosis. It means more than the one area cystic sarcosis happen. So it is comes under to multiple kind of cystic sarcosis. Okay students, so it's all about the other types of cystic sarcosis. I hope you all are understands. Okay, let's go for next thing related to neurocystic sarcosis. So here about the clinical manifestation for neurocystic sarcosis. So if anyone is suffering by the neurocystic sarcosis, that condition, lots of symptoms showing by the patient. First thing is asymptomatic. It means sometime maybe the chances person suffer by the neurocystic sarcosis but no showing any kind of symptoms. So that kind of thing is comes under to asymptomatic. Okay. Now second most common manifestation is seizure, focal, secondary, generalized or generalized 80% sometime. So if person suffering by the neurocystic sarcosis, so first symptom is showing by the patient is the seizure just because of alteration of electrical discharges. Headache is common symptoms in a condition of neurocystic sarcosis. Why headache? Because if person is suffering by the neurocystic sarcosis in over the brain, that condition, that person ICP is intracranial pressure definitely have a chance to increase. That's why headache is happen in duration of neurocystic sarcosis. Now next is focal neurological defect. So focal neurological defect also happen in duration of neurocystic sarcosis. Symptom sign of raised ICT. It means intracranial temperature also maybe the chances happen in duration of the neurocystic psychosis. Sometimes patient feel nausea, vomiting. Why? Because we all know our nervous system have a one part. It is called medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata is responsible for the nausea, vomiting sensation function, or regulate the nausea, vomiting sensation function properly. So if person suffering by the neurocystic sarcosis, so that condition, that person is not proper maintaining of medulla oblongata function. So that's why sometimes person show nausea, vomiting sensation problem. Altered mental status, its status. So why altered mental status? Because we all are know already our nervous system is a one kind of way for the maintain, or one kind of tool for maintain the mental status functions, and basically our nervous system is maintain whole psychological function. Okay, so here if person is affected by the neurocystic psychosis, that condition our brain is affect. That's why person maybe the chances altered mental status manifestation also showing in duration of neurocystic sarcosis. Visual changes, sometimes person show visual changes if person is suffering by the ocular cystic sarcosis, or maybe the chances any kind of nervous cystic sarcosis, that condition also. Dizziness, cerebral edema also happen in duration of neurocystic sarcosis. Neurocognitive defect like learning disability, psychosis, depression also, but this kind of symptom very rarely showing and very low amount showing, like 5% only person showing by this kind of the symptom, neurocognitive defect. Okay students, so it's all about the clinical symptoms or symptoms and signs related to the neurocystic sarcosis patient. Now we will see diagnostic evaluation. It means which kind of diagnostic tools help for detect neurocystic sarcosis patient. First is a stool routine and microscopy, first important test. Now second, fundoscopy. It is also one kind of important tool for detect the patient related to neurocystic sarcosis or ocular cystic sarcosis. What is fundoscopy? Fundoscopy, it is also called ophthalmoscopy. So is a test that allow a health professional to see inside the fundus of the eye and other structure using the ophthalmoscope. So that's why it is a very important kind of tool for the detect the patient related to ocular cystic sarcosis. Now biopsy and histopathology. So why biopsy and histopathology? Because we all are know in duration of neurocystic sarcosis which areas affect brain muscles and brain tissue is affect, and what happen? Infection in brain muscles and brain tissues. So that condition we have performed biopsy and histopathology. We get a small piece of the muscles by the biopsy, and then after we further send to that particular sample for the further investigation in histopathology. So that condition, if you are sending that kind of sample in the histopathology, that condition we are capable to monitor which kind of pathogenic organism is involving in that particular area of the infectious site in duration of neurocystic sarcosis. Now next thing is CT with contrast. CT with contrast means in duration of CT with contrast we are giving a one injectable medicine in duration of CT scan. That condition we are very capable to monitor brain function with the CT scan process. And MRI, why MRI? Because we all are know MRI is a very important tool for each and every disease, for detecting the each and every condition. And basically what we monitor by MRI in this condition, we are monitor site of infectious part or infectious site. So it is also very important investigation tool for the MRI brain in duration of neurocystic sarcosis. Now another investigation also available like serology, EITB, sensitivity of 98%, specificity of 100%, ELISA in the CSF fluid, ELISA for CSF fluid, sensitivity of 87%, specificity of 95%. So it's all about the investigation for the neurocystic sarcosis case or patient, and this kind of investigation is very helpful investigation for testing the patient related to neurocystic sarcosis. So students, let's go our next things related to neurocystic sarcosis. Other lab tests also available in duration of neurocystic sarcosis like eosinophilia may occurs, and CSF analysis, it means lumbar puncture analysis, also very important tool for detect the patient related to neurocystic sarcosis, usually done to rule out other causes. And another kind of the test also available related to the causes and can be normal in inactive diseases, and moderate palocystosis, mostly mononuclear cells up to 300 per mm, and increased protein level correlate with the disease activity and whether or not the persistence are located in subarachnoid space. So basically it is also very important kind of investigation tool for the condition of neurocystic sarcosis period. Now we will go our next thing. Then investigation thing also available: biopsy of subcutaneous nodules, radiographs of skeletal muscles, specific coproantigen detection by ELISA for screening for T solium carries, and stool examination for T solium. Egg has poor sensitivity. So this kind of thing is also comes under to other kind of investigation tool for related the patient of neurocystic sarcosis. Now we will see about the management of neurocystic sarcosis. For first, emergency management for the neurocystic sarcosis condition are manage seizure activity, because students, we all are know seizure is a very dangerous period for the patient. So it is very important emergency care if a person suffering by the neurocystic sarcosis and that condition, that person shows seizure symptom and seizure activity. Support care, ABC, airway, breathing, circulation, and monitor and correct metabolic abnormality. Is person suffering by any kind of metabolic abnormality in duration of the neurocystic sarcosis? So our responsibility is monitor proper metabolic abnormality, and then further we will giving related to metabolic problem therapy. And anticonvulsant are effective in duration of seizure period if person is suffering by the seizure in duration of neurocystic sarcosis. So which kind of medicine is basically helpful medicine? Anticonvulsant medicine. Okay. Now avoidance of increased ICP, steroid, osmotic agents and or diuretic. So if person have a problem related to ICP, increased intracranial pressure, increased in duration of neurocystic sarcosis, that condition different kind of medicine are help for treat that particular situation. Like medicine is steroid, non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs like dexamethasone, hydrozone, and osmotic agent drugs and or diuretic drugs. Initiate proper diagnostic procedure, blood work and imaging, and immediately we send patient for the investigation like blood investigation and imaging investigation if person showing or another kind of symptom that period or that condition. Okay students, so it's all about the emergency care for patient related to neurocystic sarcosis. Now we will see next thing. Here have a different kind of drug for neurocystic sarcosis patient like albendazole 50 mg per kg per day in 2 to 3 divided dose for 2 to 4 weeks, shorter courses of 3 to 14 days, tried in single lesion. And second drug are paraginacquinone 50 mg per kg per day, less effective than the albendazole. And another combination of the two anti-parasitic drug like increased cystic clearance in the multiple lesion if person suffering by the multiple kind of neurocystic sarcosis, that condition we are providing combination of the anti-parasitic drugs. Okay, now different kind of steroid also helpful for treat the patient related to neurocystic sarcosis like dexamethasone and prednisolone. So dexamethasone 0.1 mg per kg per day with route IV starting 1 day before antiparasite drugs. We are giving before the antiparasite drugs and give for the 1 to 2 weeks, then taper. Now prednisolone is 1 to 2 mg per kg per body day के weight से we are providing in a duration of neurocystic sarcosis. Okay students, now we will go. Okay, so thank you all of you for listening me. It's all about the neurocystic sarcosis, and I hope you all understand about today's class.